A large number of people in 18 to 45 years of age group registered on CoWIN portal on the first day of registration. Over 1.35 crore registered themselves on the first day itself. Meanwhile, total vaccination across the country crosses 15 crore mark. Country reports 3,79,000 new cases in the last 24 hours. Oxygen Express trains and Indian Air Force planes transport a total of 510 metric tons of medical oxygen to Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi and Maharashtra. C-17 Indian Air Force aircraft flies in oxygen containers from Bangkok. Fertilizer companies in India to supply 50 metric tons of medical oxygen per day for COVID patients. International support to fight COVID pandemic continues to pour into India, US to deliver medical supplies worth over $100 million starting from today. Russia sends oxygen concentrators, lung ventilation equipment, medicines and essential pharmaceutical items. Another shipment from UK containing 120 oxygen concentrators arrives in India. State government continues to roll out strict measures to combat COVID-19. Goa declares a 4-day lockdown starting from Thursday. Jharkhand extends restrictions by a week. Bihar and Chandigarh to impose modified hours of night curfew from today. %16% voters cast their votes in the 8th and last phase of West Bengal Assembly elections till 9:30 a.m. Preparations in place with all the COVID-related protocols for 35 Assembly seats, counting to be held on 2nd of May. US President Joe Biden delivers his first speech to Congress, calls for higher taxes on wealthy Americans and corporations as ways to fund his $1.8 trillion package aimed at improving infrastructure and the workforce, hails US COVID fight as one of the greatest logistical achievements. Good morning, you're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the bulletin. Our top story first. Registration has opened for the third phase of vaccination to be held from 1st of May. CoWIN digital platform continues to work without any technical glitch on the first day of registration of the expanded eligible population groups. Over 1.35 crore registered themselves on the first day. In this phase, people above the age of 18 years will be vaccinated. Registration may be done on the CoWIN website and the Arogya Setu app. And up next, we'll show how CoWIN portal works and how you can register for vaccination.
On your browser's address bar, enter the URL selfregistration.cowin.gov.in. Enter your mobile phone number in the Enter Mobile Number field and click on the Get OTP button. You will receive a 6-digit OTP on the same number. Enter the 6-digit OTP that you received and click on the Verify button. Once you have registered your mobile number, you can register 3 more members on the same number if required. Click on the Register Member button. This will take you to the Register for Vaccination screen. On this screen, select the type of photo ID proof from the drop-down menu that you would like to register using. Please note that your photo ID will be verified at the time of your vaccination appointment. Please make sure that you provide the details of a photo ID that you will carry for the vaccination. Once you have selected the photo ID proof type from the drop-down menu, enter the relevant ID number in the field below. If your birth year validates you as 18 years of age or above, click on the Register button to complete the registration process for the beneficiary. An individual registered successfully prompt will appear on your screen. This will take you to the Account Details dashboard, where you have been added as a beneficiary. To add more members, you can click on the Add Member button on this screen. and follow the same process using the new member's relevant details and photo ID. Now let's schedule a vaccination appointment. Under your details, you will now be able to schedule an appointment for your first dose. Click on the Schedule button and then click on the Schedule Now pop-up at the bottom of the screen. You can also schedule an appointment for more than one member by clicking on the Schedule buttons next to their names and then clicking on the Schedule Now pop-up at the bottom of the screen. Please note that to add multiple members for the same dose 2 appointment, the vaccine and dose 1 date for all must be the same. After clicking the Schedule Now pop-up, you will be taken to the Book Appointment for Vaccination screen. On this screen, you can find the nearest vaccination center by entering your area's PIN code and clicking on Search. Alternatively, you can also search vaccination centers by district. This will list out all the vaccination centers in the selected district with information about the vaccination centers such as the vaccination center's PIN code, the minimum age allowed at the vaccination center, the type of vaccine and the cost of vaccination if it is a private vaccination center, and the number of vaccination slots currently available on each date. Please note that you won't be able to book an appointment at a vaccination center that does not cover your age. Once you have found a suitable vaccination center with available slots on your desired date and vaccine type, click on the button that shows the number of seats available for that particular vaccination center. This will take you to the time slot selection, where you can select a vaccination appointment time that is convenient for you. Your vaccination appointment has been successfully booked. You will be able to see the booking information on the confirmation screen. If you wish to download the appointment slip, click on the Download button and save it on your computer. If you would like to reschedule a vaccination appointment, you can click on the Reschedule button next to the member's name and change the date and time of the appointment. If you have already received your first dose, the due date for your second dose will be shown next to your name on the Account Details dashboard. To download your vaccination certificate, click on the Certificate button next to your details. If you have received only one dose, you will be able to download a provisional vaccination certificate. And if you have received both your doses, you will be able to download the full vaccination certificate.
So that was a detailed video showing how the CoWIN portal works. Remember, get yourself vaccinated. The age groups between 18 to 45 years of age group, people belonging to these age groups will be able to get themselves vaccinated from 1st of May. So registrations are open, and get yourself registered and get yourself vaccinated. This is the best you can do to prevent yourself against COVID-19. Added to that, wear a mask, wear it correctly and properly. The best precaution you can have against COVID-19. It will not only help save you, but also people around you from the virus. Talking of the current situation faced by the country in terms of COVID cases, India continues to report rise in new daily COVID cases. The country reported 3,79,257 cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative data to cross 1,83,76,524. With 2,69,507 recoveries registered in the last 24 hours, India's recovery rate stands at 82.1%. India's total recoveries from COVID-19 have reached 1,50,86,878. Meanwhile, the country continues to immune population against COVID-19. India has achieved another milestone in the fight against the disease by vaccinating a total of 15,20,648 people so far. Out of this, 21,93,281 vaccines were administered in the last 24 hours. Also, India has ramped up its testing and treating strategy. As per the Indian Council of Medical Research, a total of 17,68,190 samples of COVID-19 were tested in the last 24 hours. With this, India has so far tested 28,44,71,000 979 samples of COVID-19. Amidst the ongoing fight against COVID-19 in India, the global community has lent India a helping hand. The first batch of emergency humanitarian aid to India arrived in New Delhi. 2 flights operated by Russian Emercom arrived in New Delhi today. Russian humanitarian assistance include oxygen concentrators, lung ventilation equipment, bedside monitors, medicines, including Coronavir and other essential pharmaceutical items. Russian ambassador to India, Nikolai Kudashev, expressed hope that today's delivery of the Russian humanitarian assistance will become an effective contribution to the Indian government's efforts to provide emergency treatment to those who were affected by the virus. They also said that the cooperation also includes forthcoming deliveries of Sputnik 5 starting from May this year and subsequent facilitation of its production in India. Cooperation also in the field of medical science.
2 urgent flights operated by the Russian Emercom arrived here today. These are oxygen concentrators, lung ventilation equipment, bedside monitors, medicines including Coronavir, and other essential pharmaceutical items. Joint fight against the coronavirus threat is one of the most important areas of our cooperation at present. It also includes the forthcoming deliveries of the Sputnik V vaccine starting from May 2021 and the subsequent facilitation of its production in India.
Also, cooperation with the United Kingdom continues. Another shipment from UK containing 120 oxygen concentrators arrived early this morning. The UK has said that it will send further vital oxygen equipment to India in support of the country's fight against COVID-19. 3 oxygen generation units will be sent from surplus stocks in Northern Ireland to support India by providing more oxygen to those suffering from COVID-19. Oxygen units are each capable of producing 500 litres of oxygen per minute, enough for 50 people to use at a time. This follows the UK's recent action to support India with 495 oxygen concentrators and 200 ventilators sent from surplus stocks. The first batch of these medical supplies arrived in Delhi around 1 a.m. on Tuesday, 27th of April. British Minister for Middle East and North Africa, James Cleverly, said that Britain will provide India with 3 mobile oxygen factories to support the country's battle against its second wave of the virus.
Also providing 3
In the fight against COVID-19, the United States is sending supplies worth more than $100 million to India to help it fight a surge of COVID-19 cases. The White House in a statement said that the supplies, which will begin arriving from today and continue into the next week, include 1,100 oxygen cylinders, 1,700 oxygen concentrators, 15 million N95 masks and 1 million rapid diagnostic test kits. The United States also has redirected its own order of AstraZeneca manufacturing supplies to India, which will allow it to make over 20 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine, according to the White House. White House National Security Advisor to U.S. President Jake Sullivan has said that the United States is determined to help people of India. In a tweet, he said, and I quote him, "The United States is determined to help the people of India. We will continue to stand together in our shared battle against COVID-19. Indian ambassador to the U.S., Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, said that administration in the United States as well as private sector are undertaking special sorties to send oxygen-related materials required in India.
The first supply has already taken off today and subsequent sorties will be taking place. There are a number of areas especially relating to oxygen, therapeutics, particularly remdesivir and its different variants. The kind of stuff that is needed is being supplied and it is being done as it is being assembled, it is moving. Now that is the administration side. On the private sector too, FedEx and a number of private companies are undertaking special sorties which will take the equipment and the oxygen related stuff, etc., which are required in India, would be ferried by these private companies.
Indian Air Force has also swung into action by carrying out sorties from various parts of the country to airlift oxygen containers and cylinders. 2 empty tankers for medical oxygen were airlifted to Ranchi from Agra. Indian Air Force's C-17 aircraft also airlifted 4 empty cryogenic oxygen containers from Bangkok to Jamnagar Air Base. Indian Air Force also airlifted 2 containers from Agra to Ranchi, 2 from Chandigarh to Ranchi, 2 from Indore to Raipur, 1 from Indore to Jamnagar, 2 from Hindon to Ranchi, 1 from Bhopal to Surat, 2 from Jodhpur to Jamnagar and 2 from Gwalior to Ranchi. Strengthening the capabilities of the nation in the united fight against COVID, the Ministry of Railways has, amongst its multi-pronged initiatives, deployed nearly 4,000 isolation coaches with almost 64,000 beds to work concurrently with the states, and in a bid to reach out as swiftly as possible, the Railways has drawn a decentralized plan of action, empowering zones and divisions to work out their memorandum of agreement for cohesive action. Now, these isolation coaches can be easily moved and positioned at places of demand on the Indian Railways network. Accordingly, as per state's demand, at present 191 coaches have been handed over to various states for COVID care with bed capacity of 2,990 beds. State governments continue to roll out strict measures to combat COVID-19. Goa will undergo a lockdown for 4 days from today evening to May 3rd in order to curb the spread of the disease. All essential services, including grocery stores, will remain open. Kitchens of restaurants will be open for home delivery of food. Public transport will be completely shut down. Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant has urged people not to panic buy. He also appealed to the people to take necessary precautions against COVID-19 and also take medicines in case of any symptoms. Bihar government has extended the period of night curfew by 3 hours from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. from today. Shops and business establishments will be closed by 4 p.m. Essential services have been exempted from this order. The decision was taken by the Crisis Management Group headed by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. 5 persons will be allowed for marriage, rather 50 persons will be allowed for marriage ceremonies, while only 20 will be permitted for funeral processions. Government and private offices will be closed after 4 p.m. 25% attendance will be allowed in offices. The state government will bear all the expenses of funeral of those who died due to COVID and related diseases. Amid surge in COVID-19 cases in Madhya Pradesh, the state government has extended the corona curfew in the state till May 7th to break the chain of transmission. At present, corona curfew is underway in several districts of the state, including Bhopal, Indore and other prominent cities till May 3rd. State Home Minister Dr. Narottam Mishra informed that decision was taken by Chief Minister in a meeting to review the COVID situation in the state along with the cabinet members. Dr. Mishra said that the Chief Minister is monitoring the spread of the virus in some districts, including Indore, Bhopal, Gwalior, Jabalpur and Ujjain. Meanwhile, a much-needed relief has been sent to Bhilai. 3 empty tankers of oxygen have been airlifted to Bhilai from Indore in a bid to fulfill the rising demand of oxygen for COVID-19 patients in the region. Polling for the 8th and final phase of West Bengal Assembly elections for 35 assembly constituencies is being held today. 16% voters turnout was registered till 9:30 a.m. Polling began at 7 a.m. and will conclude at 6:30 p.m. in 11,860 polling stations in the state. The counting of votes in West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry will take place on May 2nd. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged voters to cast their vote and enrich the festival of democracy. In a tweet, Prime Minister said, and I quote him, "Last phase of the 2021 West Bengal elections takes place today. In line with the COVID-19 protocols, I call upon people to cast their vote and enrich the festival of democracy." U.S. President Joe Biden delivered his much-awaited speech to the joint session of Congress at the Capitol. Joe Biden urged the Congress to enact police reforms in the name of George Floyd. Biden told a joint session of Congress the reform was broadly supported by the American people, and lawmakers should work together to wrap up what he called productive discussions between Democrats and Republicans on the issue.
To root out systemic racism in our criminal justice system and to enact police reform in George Floyd's name that passed the House already. I know Republicans have their own ideas and are engaged in very productive discussions with Democrats in the Senate. We need to work together to find a consensus. But let's get it done next month, by the first anniversary of George Floyd's death. The country supports this reform, and Congress should act. We have a giant opportunity to bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice, real justice.
He also reiterated that he welcomed competition from China, but said that he would defend America's interests across the board.
In my discussion with President Xi, I told him, we welcome the competition. We're not looking for conflict. But I made absolutely clear that we will defend America's interest across the board. America will stand up to unfair trade practices that undercut American workers and American industries, like subsidies from state to state-owned operations and enterprises, and the theft of American technology and intellectual property.
American astronaut Michael Collins, who flew the Apollo 11 command module while his crewmates became the first people to land on the moon on July 20, 1969, died on Wednesday after battling cancer. He is best known for being a member of the Apollo 11 mission when his crewmates Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first people to set foot on the moon. Often described as the forgotten third astronaut on the historic mission, Collins remained alone in the command module for more than 21 hours until his two fellow astronauts returned in the lunar module. He lost contact with the mission control in Houston each time the spacecraft circled the dark side of the moon. In 1963, he was chosen by NASA for its astronaut program, still in its early days but ramping up quickly at the height of the Cold War as the United States sought to push ahead of the Soviet Union and fulfill President Kennedy's pledge of landing a man on the moon by end of the decade. Acting NASA administrator has hailed Collins as a true pioneer. In Easter Island, residents demand resumption of flights from Chilean mainland. The outrage among people of the island unfolded after flights to Chilean mainland were suspended when protesters stormed the island's Mataveri International Airport last week and refused to let people disembark over COVID-19 infection fears. Most of those aboard the flight were workers from Chile's Ministry of Housing who were traveling to the island for a construction project. All 7 were forced to return to the Chilean mainland. The disruption in the flights has left islanders facing shortages of food and other essential goods, including COVID-19 vaccines. In Canada, the park authorities have decided to illuminate the world-famous Niagara Falls in tricolor tonight from 9:30 to 10 p.m. to display the solidarity and hope for India. Earlier, the Niagara Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world, was illuminated in the colors of the Indian flag as members of the Indo-Canadian community celebrated Independence Day last year amidst the restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, Indian Embassy in Canada thanked Niagara Park authorities for expressing solidarity and support towards India's fight against COVID-19. That's it in this edition of the News this hour. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.